Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabados of Delmar, and together with my co-host Mark Hornich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechvalley.com.
Rabbi, we've had many mayors. We had the mayor of Albany, the mayor of Schenectady, the mayor of Troy on the program, and now we're moving a little north, and we have the mayor of Saratoga Springs here, Joanne Yepsen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So good to see you here.
You too.
I wanted to ask you, what if you had to give the State of the City address today, what would the state of the city of Saratoga be?
Well, we've had many exciting months since I took office January 1st, and we did give a State of the City address in January. And much of what I indicated that I was going to be working on, we've actually been working on. How do you like that? So we've actually been very true to our word, and we have a vision and a plan for the city that includes creating a comprehensive downtown sustainability plan, which will include a lot of more even friendlier pedestrian, and I was out with a friend of mine in a wheelchair the other day, and what Complete Streets is, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but we're taking this very seriously in Saratoga Springs. In fact, we've just got a $200,000 grant from NYSERDA so that we can establish even stronger policies and actually implement them in Saratoga Springs to become a more sustainable community. So that's key. That's a number one economic development, but also certainly an environmental issue.
So the complete streets means for not only just the disabled or handicapped, but also for bicycling, right? And for make it a better walking city, which is it's a great walking city already.
We're very proud of our downtown, and that's another big part of our economics. You know us for horse racing.
Yes, but I hope that you can connect the west side of your city with the downtown.
Yes.
A little, because I get lost when I get, because I'm used to a grid from Manhattan where it's streets and avenues, and you got to find, when you want West Street, you're like, okay, I know I got to go west, but where is it?
You can't get lost in New York City, right? Because all the streets are numbered. I think
right.
a late show comedian said that the other night. It was kind of funny. No, Saratoga Springs is one city, and when I ran for mayor, it was very important to me to build on the culture and the history that we've had. And next year is going to be our centennial year, so we're 100 years old next year. And what we want to do is...
I would think Saratoga would be a lot older than that.
Well, we were a village before we were incorporated as a city. And some people say, you celebrated the 150th year of Saratoga Race Course last year. Are you telling me the horses are older than the people? Well, no, it's that we have been incorporated as a city since 2000.
But one thing, I've been around, not that long. I say I'm 29 years old. But in any case, Saratoga's, I don't know the budget, and you can fill us in with that, but generally from an outsider, so to speak, visiting for the last quarter of a century, it seems like it's booming.
We are.
Downtown is so nice, and just every time I go there, there's something more and special.
What's the size of your budget?
It's $38 million, and we have about 28,000 people. And we've just passed a $4.7 million in the capital program, which we're intending to bond for special projects over the next 6 years. So you're right, we are booming. We are the envy of a lot of cities. I have a very strong relationship with the other mayors that you mentioned. In fact, we've built this coalition. We're doing great things together. We call each other when we have questions or when we need each other. We've already put together and executed a summit on housing issues.
You say mayors in Capital District or Saratoga County?
No, Capital District, yes. So Mayor Sheehan,
No.
Kathy Sheehan and I were elected on the same day.
Right, this is the Women Mayors Coalition.
And we're building that too.
And Mayor Thane.
Mayor Thane from Amsterdam, of course Lou Rosamilia from Troy, and Gary McCarthy from Schenectady.
Right.
So the five of us have been meeting on a regular basis, and we already put together and had a housing summit together. And we had 5 mayors on the stage, all talking from their different perspectives on the housing issues and the housing priorities. Now for Saratoga Springs, we are booming, but 2 things there. One, we want to boom in the right way.
Yes.
In other words, I'm not going to let the city become a suburban sprawl. We covet our downtown growth, and we have pretty much drawn a geographic line around it, saying this is where the growth is going to be allowed. And guess what? We're going to stay a city in the country because that's good for economics, it's good for the environment,
It's a good slogan.
and it's really good for the quality of life.
And it's, it's a good slogan, good marketing, a city in the country.
We've been using that for something like over 25 years.
And I missed it. I just heard it now for the first time. Well, there you go. You got to
And-
push it more.
Again, knowing going back some history, and again, and I don't go back 100 years, I'm not that old with my wife, but it really was, and people have told me the Jewish community, it's the Jewish view, so I have a Jewish angle on it, that it is a strong history of Jewish participation and religious Jews that going up Saratoga. Mainly, the story I heard, and you can fill us in, you're the expert in Saratoga, that it's just that the mineral waters, and nowadays when it's somebody arthritis, there's pills, and I'm not a doctor, but I don't think there's a cure anyway, even nowadays in 21st century, but they knew that from Europe, they'd go from Hungary, Romania, and they'd go to the mineral water, and that would heal them, so that became a launching pad for all the religious Jews that they would
That's right.
go there.
And they still do, and a lot of people do. But we started as a city because of the mineral springs bubbling out of the ground. The Native Americans noticed that the deer were drinking waters from High Rock Park, where the vault had occurred and the separation in the earth, and began drinking the waters themselves, found the medicinal value in each one, and began to bring the soldiers in from the Civil War and set up tents and nurse them back to health, literally with the waters, and send them back out into the battlefield. Since then, we've become a tourist community because of the waters and because of the horse racing and other reasons. Tourism is our #1 industry, of course, and so when you say, do we really need 5 more hotels? Well, yes, we do, because we're a tourist destination. And the more we can accommodate families and executives and any type of traveler, the more business we're going to do. But people do come for the waters. And my goal next year in the 100th anniversary is to bring a return of the waters, because so many of them have been turned off. And the state park houses 9 different springs now. And if you go on a mineral springs tour, you can be instructed which ailments you go to for
Really?
which
I didn't know
spring.
that.
And it really does
Because I have
work.
gone, my father said, oh, it's Saratoga, you came
Got
from
it.
Florida. I hear it's so good, come with me. I says, all right, I'm coming with you. So I have gone, I didn't know it was that specific. And
We do, and back to your point of booming, but boom in the appropriate way. If I was mayor 100 years ago, I wouldn't have wanted to be booming quite so much, because what happened is we had over 200 mineral springs. And because of development, we've paved over a lot of them or built up on them, and we only have 19 left.
I didn't know that.
Well, I wanted to let you know something. When I first started in journalism, I worked at WAMC, and they sent me up to the Lincoln Baths to do a profile piece on radio, and you got to draw pictures for NPR. You have to draw the picture for radio. And I went up Lincoln Baths and the Roosevelt Baths, and I actually got to see them before they got turned into something else. And I wanted to, and I loved it so much. And between that and Tanglewood and the Berkshires and all the other arts that are around here, I stayed here and I never left. And it was all because of, a lot of it's because of Saratoga.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. So I wanted to mention that. And also, the rabbi talks about the history. What about the gut?
The gut is an
Can you
area,
talk
right?
about that?
Right, and back to your point of trying to
Yeah.
coordinate or connect the west side with the
Yeah,
east side and
yeah.
the central Broadway area, that's very important to me. And because we have these cultural districts, the west side is full of history and culture, and lots of ethnic backgrounds. The
Right.
Irish and the Italians all still have organizations there. And so does the Black Elks. It's the last Elks Club, African American Elks Club on the west side left in Saratoga County. It's the only one left. And they're very proud of themselves. And we've helped to restore that west side area called Beekman Street Artist District. And I first got involved with politics because I started working on that project. And so one thing led to the other, and the connectivity is very important to me. Connecting our special places with wheelchair accessible, bike accessible, so that we have pedestrians walking between Congress Park and High Rock Park, the Beekman Street and the Gut, and really touring the city for everything that it's worth, not just one section, because you only learn a little bit about the city. But the Gut was founded years ago because it became sort of this, not an underground, but a sort of a resort of its own to be really Jewish friendly and to come for the waters and to feel like they had a place of their own that was friendly, accepting, and they really began to start a section of the city, which is now called the Gut, and we have a plaque still today. The last plaque was put up in 2009 and notes that it's a low-lying neighborhood nicknamed the Gut, and as one time was a lively Jewish enclave of stores, markets, hotels, and boarding houses. And it's just another piece of our history that I find fascinating, and how it's helped design the architecture and really add to the ethnic and the cultural importance.
There's a 9-part series called the Jewish Cultural Festival.
Yes.
That takes place every summer, or
Yes.
started the past couple of summers. Have you gone to any of those
Yes.
events?
So there's several things planned too, and I'm looking forward to attending many of them. There has been strolling tours that I've attended, some of the festivals I've attended.
Did you attend Shalom Fest? I wasn't there. but
I wasn't there last year, no, I
No, but
haven't.
this year at Congress Park at Shalom Fest?
No.
I was there. It
And
was
you didn't
really
see Mayor
beautiful.
Yepsen there, no?
I
Because
don't know how I missed it. I'm pretty much at everything.
in Schenectady, they
Yeah.
have the Carrot Festival at
Right.
one of the synagogues, and everyone who's anyone, they all stroll in for a few minutes here and there.
Yeah.
So I think next year what I'll do is I'll come knock on your door and take you
Please,
with me.
I'm on Fifth Avenue, right near the racetrack. Come get me.
Okay.
August, but I'm never home. So
I'll find you and I'll come get you. I'll put a
you
GPS
will.
tracking on you.
Yes, that's right. August 24th, right in
Yeah,
Congress
that was
Park.
it was really beautiful, and there's a lot of people come from all over, really. You were talking about the hotels, that I think in Saratoga, we constantly saying you're booming, but they say in August in Albany, you can't get a hotel either. And what's happening in August? Well, it's Saratoga, and it's just a runoff. So whatever you're, experiencing, you're actually spreading out all over.
I hope
That's-
so.
yeah.
That's what our goal is, to really have a regional impact. And there was a study done several years ago, and updated about 3 years ago, with a 9-county economic impact of the horse racing industry, and it's significant, millions and millions.
What's the spillover from the racetrack to the city?
It's getting better. We had an excellent working relationship this year with NYRA.
Because it was state-run?
No, because I
That's-
think I was a new mayor, and it was an opportunity for the new CEO and the new mayor to build a new relationship
Okay.
and come up with new ideas.
Okay.
So
Well, I've got to tell you, one of the ideas that were not brought up, and I mentioned this to the CEO, Chris Kay,
yeah,
is that they had these cultural heritage days on Wednesday, and they had African American, Asian, Latino, Irish, and Italian. And I raised my hand at the news conference and said, hello,
remember that.
what about, oh, you were there, that's
Sure, I
right.
was
And
sitting
said,
right near
what
you.
about Jewish?
I don't know.
And they-
I mean, what happened?
And he thought it meant it as a religion. And I said, no, a culture and ethnicity.
Right.
You're going to have, for the other ethnicities, you're going to have dancing, you're going to have food. Certainly we got our dances, we have our food. What's going on? Why are you ignoring it? And here we have a 9-part festival
Yeah.
that we can easily blend in with the racetrack. It's being done already.
Right.
And you overlook it. And
Right.
so the PR guy, Mark Bardak, comes up to me, all upset, because he says, I'm Jewish, and you know how much, the religion means to me. So I'll leave it at that. And I said, you know what? He says to me, well, what you did was unprofessional. And I said, why? Because I said it out publicly, and I didn't come to you privately where you could diss me.
Yeah.
And, so he says, he says, well, we approached the Jewish community and they turned us down. I said, yeah, who did you approach? Well, I'll get back to you. So he got back to me, and he went to a secretary at the synagogue in Schenectady that does the Carrot Festival, and she asked someone who plans these festivals at the synagogue and said, no, that's Saratoga. Well, that's not our thing. We're in Schenectady. We have
Yeah.
our own festival, but he didn't go to any of the 4 or 5 synagogues in
In Saratoga.
or Clifton Park
Really?
or Glens Falls. And he didn't go to the Jewish Federation. He didn't go to any of the JCCs, Jewish Community Centers. He simply stopped right there, heard a no, and said, okay, I fulfilled my obligation, and didn't go any further. And I thought that was a disgrace. So I'm here to try to, if you're working well with the CEO,
Absolutely.
I want to see a Jewish Heritage Day at Saratoga Raceway next year.
Sounds
So
like it's a perfect
it's a
opportunity.
perfect fit.
given
So-
Not on
that-
Saturday.
That's
please.
true. No, it's Wednesdays. They do it
Every
on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, yeah.
So I'm here to.
I think that would be great,
you know.
because we actually have a large Jewish population in Saratoga
You do,
Springs. We have a
yes.
Jewish school,
Yes.
and we have 3 synagogues, and I work with all the rabbis. We have a lot of ceremonies, as you know, in Saratoga, and actually we have one tomorrow, and it's in honor and recognition of the 9/11. So it's a commemoration and remembrance ceremony for 9/11. We're going to start at High Rock Park, where the city began with their mineral spring, right at our origin. And that's where the Tempered by Memory sculpture is erected as well. If you recall, back in 2010, our Saratoga Arts organization was approached by Port Authority and said, we have metal here. Can you use this? Can an artist do something with this? And we got all sorts of union trade folks to go down with trucks and cranes and everything else and bring back the metal. And 2 artists, local artists, Noah Savitz and John Van Alstyne, put a unbelievable sculpture together.
And
And now
is-
it's erected in High Rock
Is
Park.
Noah Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay. That's.
And they're both coming. The artists are coming to my ceremony tomorrow, and
What-
Rabbi Jonathan is doing our benediction, and
What time is that
it's
that I
just
should?
wonderful. It starts at 8:15
Okay.
tomorrow at High Rock
Ooh.
Park.
So that's,
I got to get up early. Okay.
You do have to get up early, but I would suggest, I would love to have you come. I
Okay.
think it's going to be a really
Maybe I'll stay
interesting-
over at the Chabad house tonight.
Maybe. Yeah, don't have to get up that early. You're going against traffic going
That's
up
right.
north.
Now, what's your favorite place to go and eat in Saratoga Springs?
Well, you don't
Because
have a
it seems
kosher
like-
restaurant.
Not
so-
anymore. There used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe
So
we need one.
It's very difficult for us to have anything to eat in
Yeah.
Saratoga. In fact, that's one of the things that I mentioned to a few people, is that maybe there could be a kiosk for kosher food at the racetrack.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And, you know, the Jets, the Giants, the Yankees, the Mets, they have kosher kiosks at those stadiums. And those are companies, prominent companies, that could also have the kiosk for the 6 weeks at the track. And, you know, you do have Jewish community, and there are
Sure.
non-Jews who love kosher food. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that there's a place for
Kosher
it.
hot dog over here.
I think
Big
there's a
Island.
place for it, more than just Nathan's, as Heller said at the news conference.
Right,
You know,
right.
Nathan's isn't kosher, so I was like grimacing when I heard that. So, anyway, I just hope that maybe some of these ideas that we're exchanging here maybe
I
might
think
be
it's
helpful.
great. You know, I think that
So-
it's very important to be respectful, but we all can be even a better community if we highlight each other and
Yes.
learn from one another and include one another. And, you know, my goal also is to try to create a more international community. And horse racing does that somewhat, but there's other ways we can start bringing people in from around the world to Saratoga Springs.
Well, a few years ago, there was a horse that ran at the racetrack called Maimonides. And the Hebrew school where Rabbi Simon teaches called Maimonides Hebrew Day School. So the head of the school, Rabbi Rubin, brought the kids up from Maimonides to meet the horse Maimonides. And I arranged all that. Well, it was front page of the New York Times. And Rabbi Rubin got phone calls from his friends in New York City saying, I never thought I'd see a positive story about the Jews on the front page of the New York Times. So
And it all boils down to the horse.
and it was
and then-
Maimonides
yeah.
meets Maimonides. And
That's
it was
awesome.
the kids, and it was
Very
just
good.
phenomenal. I don't know if you saw the picture.
Yeah, sure. right.
yeah.
It was a good-
And it was a nice article, and
Yeah.
there are connections that
Yeah.
can be made between the Jewish community and horse racing. But more importantly, you have many Jewish residents.
Sure.
A friend of mine, Steve Kamen. Do you know Steve
I
Kamen?
do, very well,
Okay.
yes.
He grew up down the block from me in Brooklyn.
Oh, did he really?
Yes.
And now he's
six houses away from me.
He's
So-
one of the developers that I
He
work
is,
with. You
yes.
know, this Saratoga Springs has this kind of strange, unique form of government called the commissioner.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about that?
It's the commissioner form of government. I think there's only 2 or 3 towns and cities left in New York State with this commissioner form of government. We've been this way for 100 years. Occasionally, either groups or mayors have attempted to change it as a referendum, change the charter on the referendum in a ballot situation, and it has never passed. So essentially, we have 5 elected officials running the city. It's not considered a strong mayor form of government. And that can be, has its advantages and disadvantages. Department of Public Works is in charge of all the city facilities, the grounds, snow plowing, street sweeping, picking up the leaves and the brush and all
So
of
if somebody
that.
doesn't get the snowplow, it's not on your head over
That's
here.
right, I'll say call the
That's
other
right.
commission, call the commissioner of Public Works,
So
right?
that's the
And he's
advantage, yeah.
elected.
Oh, yeah, we have 5 of us that are elected. Now, I'm running several departments as the mayor, and I'm the CEO of the city, so I'm also running all the official business. So any agenda items that other commissioners would like to see on the city council meetings are, submitted through me,
Or
approved
part of
by
the
me.
budget, I mean, if they want a little more in the budget.
No, so that we have a commissioner of finance
Oh, really?
who oversees the finances for the city.
Gets elected, has to run.
Gets elected. And now all of us as elected officials have full-time deputies who are running operations on a daily basis now. So that puts
So you
us
got
in a
finance, DPW, the mayor, and who's the other 2?
Public Works,
All right, Public Works.
Commissioner of Public Works,
Right.
and a Commissioner of Accounts.
Accounts?
Accounts, which is like a city clerk, but all the licensing and permits go
Okay.
through that office, and tax assessments, property assessments go through that office.
All right, so.
They're
the-
record holders.
Right, so the finance person's more like the treasurer of the
Yes,
city? Okay.
exactly.
So you're just calling it different things, But it's like.
It is what it is.
But it's like
and-
the city of Albany, where you have a treasurer that gets independently elected. And you have
Yes.
well, they switched it a little bit, but you also have the treasurer, and then you got like the accountant. Like one takes in the money and the one audits the money, the chief auditor.
Yeah.
So
Right,
you got.
Darius. Well, so again, one of the biggest responsibilities that the mayor has is board and committee appointments. And this is where I feel like I can make a huge impact.
Okay.
Inclusive. I ran on an open, inclusive government. And I'm holding my word to that, meaning that every time I have an appointment on a various board or committee, and all the land use boards, which controls development, are under the mayor's appointments. The problem is I only have 1 per year, and I only have a 2-year term. So, you make changes slowly in Saratoga and most cities. But at any rate, so it's an opportunity for me to diversify those people that are running the government along with the city staff and elected officials.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to include people that have not necessarily felt like they had a voice in the past and get them more involved. So I'm really reaching out broadly and casting the net broadly to include people and bring new voices into city government.
So tell me, if you had to figure out if you were to say that you were going to keep getting reelected and looking long-term positively, what would you want to see done that really takes a long time to do, that you would really start now in the hopes that you're doing such a good job that you have this long-term mission, but also you realizing they give you a 2-year contract, the people give you a 2-year contract?
Yeah. Well, there's several projects actually, because you can't plan as if you're only going to oversee a city for 2 years.
Right.
Clearly, I'm doing a lot of long-term planning. A lot of it is done through the planning boards and the planning staff. But the sustainability piece entering into our world now is very important. And I think that it's not only the wave of the future for grants and funding opportunities, but we have a huge constituency that's very interested in sports tourism, recreation, sustainability issues. and protecting our vibrant downtown. So all of that is to say that there is a project that is called the Greenbelt Trail. And I'm very proud to be a part of it. We have so much talent in the city that come forward and volunteer and their talents and skills. And we have a 23-mile Greenbelt Trail that is going to be a multi-purpose trail that's going to go around the city. And it's within the city proper, it's about a 10-mile loop. And what my goal would be is to make that a reality and to connect that. Not only will it build on tourism, but it's just the quality of life again. And building on sports tourism, we have so much opportunity.
Sure you do.
Also, we've just created an open waterfront park on Saratoga Lake. It's one of the first public accesses to the lake. So again, giving people the quality of life, being a little bit more nature-oriented, even in the city, is important. So our urban parks, but now our waterfront park, are important family-friendly, and again, sports and recreation
I wanted
uses.
to, what number mayor are you in the 100 years? What number?
Oh gosh, it's, Gail, do you remember? It's gotta be like 50-something.
Okay.
I was just inaugurated on January 1st,
Right.
and there was
But what's the average?
48, I think.
What's the average tenure that you can imagine that the, looking back at the previous mayors, what was the longest, 6, she said, I don't know. There was some-
56?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So some mayors have served one term because they wanted to. Some mayors have served one term because the people wanted them to. Some mayors have served 3 terms. I think,
Was that the longest, 3 terms?
I believe so.
It's a tough job.
It's a
really
tough,
job.
rigorous schedule. Ask any mayor.
What's your salary?
My salary is very low.
yeah.
It's $14,500.
That is tremendously low
Yeah.
compared to,
It's-
like again, we have many mayors and elected officials on our show.
Well, that's the problem that I have in terms of doing the kind of job that I feel this city deserves and needs, because we're a growing city. We got to grow up and be a real city, because we are now. And we probably need a full-time professional mayor, whether it's me or somebody else, at the helm, because for this to be considered a part-time job is totally ridiculous.
They consider it a part-time?
It is, and all the commissioners.
Well, they consider the state legislature a part-time job.
Right.
And look what they're getting as a part-time job.
Exactly,
So.
and
And you're in the office a lot more than they are, so.
Right, and before I became mayor, I served 4 terms
Yes.
as the county supervisor on the county board. And again, it's a board of supervisors, not county legislators, which is a little different form of government.
Right.
But those were 2-year terms, and I served 4 terms, and chose to run for mayor because I felt like the city was my true passion. That was where I wanted to make the most impact.
You
and the
really
most
wanted
difference.
this because you ran once before. This is the second time. that
Not
you
for
ran.
mayor, no.
No, you ran for something else?
I ran for state senate
All right,
in
but,
2010,
oh.
and what I wanted to do was make a bigger impact for Saratoga Springs.
But you've been wanting to move on from that county supervisor position, and you wanted to really show, and your name got out there, and you had a very positive name recognition rating. So
Yeah.
best
I've been
of
at
luck.
this a
Yeah.
while, and I've had some very good mentors, but basically what you do is you build partnerships with
That's
your
right.
constituents. And, while my county supervisor colleagues were in the back room creating deals,
Yeah.
I was out with the public, finding
Right.
out what they wanted and what they needed and doing it.
That's right. So let me ask you this, we have a couple of minutes left. If you've never been to the Philadelphia Jewish Museum, you really should go, because there's an exhibit there about Saratoga Springs. And goes back to the
How did it get
1860s.
into Philadelphia?
Why don't we have it
Connection.
here?
Yeah,
Why
I
don't
know.
we have a Jewish museum
You wouldn't
here?
want this one.
We wouldn't?
You
So it's a
wouldn't
bad
want
one,
this
huh?
one.
Okay.
It's the Grand Union Hotel
Oh, yeah, I know.
and
Yeah.
Rabbi Seligman,
Yes,
and how they threw him out.
Yeah.
He had the mayor
Horrible.
became the hotel owner, and then he said, no, Jews are not welcome here, or your kind's not welcome here, and he said, go home, and he had all his entourage with him, and they all had to go back on the train, and he spent the rest of his days fighting and suing and all this stuff. So there's a one black mark on the city's
oh, yeah.
history with
Absolutely.
the Jewish community, but times have changed. We've moved on, and I think now you have a positive perception or a positive view where you're more welcoming towards Jews. So
I would hope
I just
so,
want to make
yeah.
that reality, make that statement, that's all.
Sure,
All right,
sure.
well, thank you, Mayor, for being on the Jewish View, and, we look forward to seeing not like booming in an economic sense, but also, like you say, a quality of life. It's so beautiful. It really is a favorite city when I visit there. It's, it's so beautiful. You don't feel that in really most cities around the world when you visit there. So it's a world city, but it's also, like you say, a very community city. And we wish you the best of luck in what your visions are for the city, and do it with good health.
We'll have you as a
Thank
return
you.
guest, and all the best of success.
I would very much
Yeah.
like that. Thank
Okay.
you so much for
Great.
having me.
Thanks for coming.